Okay, so like I said, we're going to work on starting the next assignment, which is a jeweled ring or bracelet or tiara or necklace or whatever have you. Does not matter. Doesn't even have to be all that circular. It's just an idea of a carrier for some sort of a jeweled object because we're going to work with the different ways to create a jewel, basically like a really simple like gemstone looking thing, as well as different ways to use either the pipe, sweep, or loft tool. Your decision. Could be any one of those. It could be a combination of them, and to create some sort of a circular-ish object. And I say that because it doesn't have to be perfectly circular. It's your own drawing. It's your own design. Again, the thing has to have at least one jewel. We're going to make a really simple setting to lock that jewel into place, meaning it's not just going to be like a jewel shape, just ring pop glued on the top, but really basic thing. This can absolutely be something you intend to print and wear, or the idea there, or it can absolutely be like costume jewelry, goofy as you like to be. Does not matter. This is learning the program. That's it. So let's hop over to Fusion, get started, and see where we're going with this. So outright, like I said, the basics are we are figuring out a way to make a simple kind of jewel shape, glistening glassy there. Some kind of a setting, which is these tines locking around it. This is obviously more like like ring pop costume jewelry style, but there you go. And then this ring is made by using the Loft tool. Loft tool being one of the three options we have. We'll go over those in a moment. But basically, Loft translates one sketch to another sketch and morphs between. Any combination you like, there you go. So let's go over these real quick. Start a new design, save. Any class, new ring. Sure, great. All right. So first thing, just as my example, you do not have to do this. I am simply making this as an example that you can then refer back to. I'm going to start a new component just so I can put in pipe, sweep, and loft. Just so I have that there. That's active. Super duper. So within that, first I'm going to create a sketch. In this case, XZ plane. So like I'm working right in front of me. And I'm just going to start with a circle. Smack in the middle. Like I said, we can kind of reference like a finger. All right, how big is that? We'll say generously more like 20 millimeters. Okay, cool. Make it kind of small. That's all right. Make it however big you want. Now for this part, I'm going to leave it plain. Just one circle. That's all I need. All right, and I'm just for my own sake, I'm going to label these ring sketch. Great. All right, so from there, I'm going to create multiple other sketches to go through the different tools. So first, pipe does not need an additional sketch. Pipe tool, as it says, creates a solid pipe or hollow. Hollow is still solid, but a solid pipe along a specified path. The path being this circle. So select my circle, and you have multiple options here. First, the diameter of the circle, or sorry, of the pipe itself. You can make this as thin or as super donut as you like. You want to make this a balloon tie or something? Cool. You make yourself a donut ring. Actually, that'd be pretty awesome. You said the diameter. Now, if you look at the toolbox here, there's also these numbers that say distance 1 and 0. In creating a pipe, using a pipe tool, any of these, you technically do not have to make this the entire length of a line. If you were making this like just a squiggly line, you don't have to go from all the way from 0 to 1, which is what that means. 0 to 1. Say like 0.5 is halfway down. That's all. So it's just a completion factor. If I scale this down, you can see how it extends from 0 all the way to 1. Does not go past 1. Think of it as 100%. Why is that going? Oh. Why is that stopping at 1 now? Oh, there we go. Okay. So there you go. So there you go. 1 pipe all the way. That was finished. If I want, I can go back and I'll show you the other things. That's circular. You can make it square. Congratulations, make tire. Or triangular. These are super helpful for making a complex shape that then you could like cut away from something else. Not important right now, but basically the one we'd probably be working with is circle. The other thing is if you wanted to make this like, say it was only half, and you could make that hollow by checking that box, and then you could also control the wall thickness there. So congratulations, you've made macaroni jewelry. Whatever. So pipe tool, really simple. That's really all there is to it. Expand this out, body one, pipe. All right, let me hide that. Bring up my ring sketch again. Next tool would be sweep, which is the next one over here. Sweep is the same thing along a path, only it's a sketch profile that you create. So with this, you want to create a sketch. Now, this gets a little awkward and such because technically you'd want to say like, I want to make this perpendicular to the sketch, but then that line gets a little bit lost. It's kind of difficult to do. You can use this sketch, but just for reference, just so you know, you can actually do a sketch on a line, on a path, and you can select that one and it'll create it basically anywhere you want. So saying if this was not a complete circle, if you wanted to make this like anywhere along a circle or something, along a path, something like that, you could do this. So it makes it really easy. It makes it sometimes it's a little bit easier, especially when you have like a squiggly line in space, not a complete ring where it's going to come back to it. This is an easy way to work. So whatever makes more sense to you, sketch along a path works well. Or that was a construction plane, sorry. But I'll go back to the first one. There we are. So that's the whole circle, super duper. Easiest way to work with this, use your project tool. Press P, just sketch or just copy that sketch. Okay. And the reason for this is as I orbit around, now it's created points at the very top and very bottom. So you're not trying to get your cursor to like try to get right at the very top, something like that. It makes it a little bit, this just makes it a little bit easier. Use the project tool from the whatever right or left side you're working on, just so you can copy that circle as a straight line. Makes it a little bit easier to work. All right. So from there, gonna make, I don't know, well, let's say 2-point circle. So I can start at the very top and go upward, I don't know, 4 millimeters. Great, sure. Now, if I left it just as that, it would simply be a circle and it basically creating the same thing as a pipe. But let's add a little bit more to that. Let's say, I don't know, knobbly bit here, 2 millimeter. Oops, it switched planes on me. Make sure you stay in the same plane. Otherwise, it gets really screwy. Sure, 2 millimeters right there. I'm just adding things. That's all. All right. And then, I don't know, other side, we'll make it we'll make it some kind of a square, rectangle, whatever have you. Needle burrito. Okay. So from that, if I want, I can trim this section, these sections all out or do whatever I please. Okay. So that whole combination there is going to end up being my sweep path. So I select sweep. My profile is all of these things, or again, I could have just like trimmed these so it's all one section. This can be a circle. I'm just showing you how to make these more complex. So if you want, as you add complexity, the other option, path, select the big circle, and there you go. And it automatically creates it. Let me change color so you can see a little more clearly. You can see how the square side moves around and the circle side moves around. It's a really simple way to make a suddenly really complex shape, in this case, in a circle. But one of the other things you can do with this is you can twist this as it goes. So if you look down here, there's taper angle. I wouldn't mess with that right now because it literally makes it wider or smaller from the original sketch, but that quickly goes kind of haywire. Twist degree makes it really interesting. So ideally, you're going to use this in multiples of 360, so all the way around. And I'll show you what happens if you say like 180, it gets an error. That's why. Because this line, this path is a circle, if it doesn't start and stop in the same spot, it causes errors. If this were just a line, a squiggle in space, yeah, you can twist it whatever angle you please. But because this starts and stops in the same place, it has to start and stop in the same orientation. So with that, we're going to do multiples of 360. You instantly start seeing some pretty interesting twists. Do again, let's say 720. Things start getting real weird. So you can suddenly create some really interesting shapes with the sweep tool and the twist angle tool and the twist angle option. Leave it at new body. There we go. Super twisty and probably could no longer get my hand in there. But okay, that was supposed to be a ring anyway. That's super tiny. Anyway, it's a neat thing. It's a way to play. All right, so that is sweep. Oops. Apparently I had caps lock on. Whatever. All right, so let's do it again, this time with Loft. With Loft, as it says, transitions from one shape or two or more shapes, one to the other, and then a progression if you have more. Series of profiles. You do have to select them in series, but in this case, we're probably just going to be using two sketches. Fine, we'll work with it. Oops, I accidentally selected something I did not mean to. All right. So basically the same way I created that sketch. This time, I'm going to make a new one. Make sure I say my, oops, I did not mean to double click there. I just wanted to label that. Sweep sketch. Cool. All right, so hide the sweep sketch. Start another one, again, perpendicular to that original circle. Use project to copy that circle. Now I have points at the top and the bottom. Great. I can make, let's see here. Usually I'll go with a pretty simple one. Some sort of rectangle. There we are. And then, sure, some sort of ellipse. What happened? No. It's always funky when things get too close and it interferes with your lines. There we go. I don't know, make it slightly smaller or bigger, 10 and 10. Sure, why not? All right. So rectangle and ellipse. Finish sketch. Orbit over. You can see what I've done there. There you go. Go to the Loft tool. Select there. First, you're going to select your two sketch profiles, which would be top one and bottom one. If you have more than, or if you have these swapped, doesn't matter if you pick bottom and then top, but it is important if you have more than two sketches that you need to select them in progression. But in this case, just that. But it is going to give you an error because it's trying to create a loft directly between those two, which is not really feasible. So you have to go down the rest of this toolbox to guide type, from rails to center line, and then select your circle. Now it's only going to make half of it because it goes from one sketch profile to the other along that path, and that's just that circle. But there you go. So you select new body, and there we are. So you have that half and half. Let's see how it got transitions from the rectangle to the loft. Great. You could always go in and add additional features, things like that. From there, you simply need to make a mirror of that object. Select your mirror plane, which is simply the XZ plane, and you make the other half. That's it. Let it join. Great. Let's label this one Loft Sketch. Geez, I keep accidentally hitting caps lock apparently. Now, the cool thing about these tools is you can actually combine them in some pretty funky ways. In that, all right, I have this loft sketch. These edges, these edge lines, these are functional lines. These are functional edges that you can actually interact with, meaning that I could take like this loft body, select pipe tool, and I can use that edge and create a pipe. I can use it as a cutaway, or I could add to it. And obviously you'd have to mirror this and such, but know that you can really start to mess with these tools by combining them. So that's why I say any combination of these. You can use any one, but I would recommend playing with just combining them. So that's with that's obviously with adding a pipe onto it. And I'll just leave that as new body so it just doesn't connect, that sort of thing. Obviously, you would then mirror that onto the other side, make it more complex. You can, of course, always go back in and edit your original sketch there. So, like, for the loft, I don't know, if you wanted to make, like, a notch into that, I wouldn't put it in the middle because that's definitely going to cause some issues with placing the ring. Let's put it underneath just for grins there. All right. 3 millimeters. Great. Let's trim that, and that. Finish sketch. It recalculates. And now there is a channel inside. Why you do that, I don't know. But, it's something you could do. Oops, I joined them, so hard to see. Anyway, so those are some cool things you can do with those. I'll save there. Pipe. Keep hitting. Pipe, sweep, and loft. All right. So the one other thing I wanted to show you on this is, like I said, pipe cannot simply be the one pipe tool. So let's add a little bit to it, show you how you can do that. All right. So let's create another one. Sure, 2 millimeters. That works just fine and dandy. Small pipe so I can remember what I'm doing. All right. So from there, you can create multiples by copy and paste, move and paste, that sort of thing. So let's select that let's select that ring. And you can copy and paste, which is just Control C, Control V. If it'll let you, sometimes it doesn't like to do that because Fusion merges the move tool into this. It gets really frustrating. So press M or just go up to move copy, select that body. And what I'm going to do is on this, make sure you select the checkbox that says create copy. Otherwise, it's only going to move your original and that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate a copy, let's say 15 degrees. Okay. Do that again the other way. Right click to repeat. Same deal. Create copy. This gets really frustrating. There we go. Now maybe go up and do the same thing. This quickly starting to turn into a balloon animal. Rotate 15 degrees. Create copy. Oh, see, I forgot to hit the create copy on that one. No, not the faces, the whole body. Thank you very much. Again. Yeah, this gets really tedious doing this, but there we are. Okay. You can quickly see how you can make some pretty interesting, albeit kind of weird shapes with just combining multiples there. Say on that, you also wanted to make one of these not knobbly at the end. You kind of wanted to actually like make it a bit more compressed and such. Yeah, that's fine. Just take that original one, same deal, move copy, and instead of orbit it, God, why does he keep doing that? Bring one over so it joins the edge. Okay. Do it again. Create copy. Yep. And there you go. So with all that, I would then go and combine all of these, and I'll select one, and then select all the other ones, and then joins it all back into one. So that now becomes small pipe ring. So yeah, you can very quickly start to make some really interesting stuff just by combining a bunch of things, combining tools. There you go. Pipe ring, ring. Great. All right, next part. We got to make that extra fancy jewel pop ring. It's actually surprisingly easier than you might think it is. So from here, you can either start right at the base, you can build it right on top, doesn't matter. If you want to build it kind of more in position, we're going to start with a construction plane, select there, and just drag it somewhere upward. It doesn't actually have to be right on top. We can always move the thing in place. Not a big deal. Okay. So let me collapse some stuff so I can see what I'm doing. Oops, I forgot to make that construction plane on the whole project. So just for my own sanity, let's move that construction plane out of there. Well, it's not going to let me. So let's chop that out. There we go. Now for this part, make sure you reactivate the whole project. Again, you did not need to make all those separate. You do want to make them in your own component, but I went through all those just to give you examples. You do not have to make multiples. That's it. So from there, I'm going to repeat what I just did, construction plane. And I'm just going to bring that somewhere above. Make it an even 20 because for some reason I need to do that. All right, standard procedure, make a new sketch. And it's going to bring it right up there. And sure, we'll leave that ring there just so I can kind of place in the middle, but honestly, it does not matter. We can hide that from there. So we're going to use a new tool we haven't in Sketch, which is Polygon. And you have three options here: circumscribed polygon, inscribed polygon, and edge polygon. Essentially, all that means is it's based around a circle. In this case, literally, I'm going to draw a circle of the diameter of the polygon I want. Remember, polygon simply means it has more than usually four sides, but technically four-side polygon can be like literally any amount. But in this case, it's five or more. We'll just leave it at that. So circumscribed just means that, all right, if I make a 5 mm circle, my multi-sided polygon is going to be on the outside of that circle. Inscribed, it's inside. That's the only difference. Edge polygon is building one based off the actual length of the true edges that you want. So in this case, we are not at all worried about the actual diameter in that case, only that in relation, only as it relates to your actual drawing. So I'm going to go with circumscribed. Right in the center. Now, a couple things about this. You have your standard options of, as you move it around, it'll move planes. I would keep this, or I will tell you, keep this on your cursor on one of the two main axes, either the green, the y-axis, or the red, the x-axis. It just makes some of this stuff easier to actually have it on a major axis. Size is just however big you're going to make this. We're going to make this a ring pop. Great. Make it giant. 20 mm. Great. Do not hit enter yet, because you need to make sure to hit tab to change the number of sides. And with this, you want to have it in multiples of, I think it actually is in 6. It's going to make it easier to work with. So if you want to make it like 12, cool. 10, I know that's straight up not a multiple of 6. Something like that, I would say with either 10 or 12. Make it even, though. Do not make it odd. Make it even. All right. Hit there. That's it. And from there, that's it. You're done. Finish sketch. I'm going to label this real quick. Ring sketch. All right, from here. Now, technically, I'd like to just extrude one and then the other, but you actually have to add, for this to work, you do need to add just one little small extrusion. So go up and hit extrude, select your sketch, and like go up 1 or 2 millimeters. It doesn't matter. Just a little bit. That's all you need. Hit OK. From there, we're going to extrude again. From that one, repeat extrude. Now we can go up. Doesn't matter. 8, 10, 300, somewhere in there. 8 works. Now, this is one of the things I was talking about was the taper angle. This, it does make sense. And when I said 42 degrees of it being a very common jewel cutting angle, yeah, type that in. Now, 42 immediately goes the wrong way. Positive number goes outward. Toggle back over, press negative, put a minus in front of it, tapers inward. You can see where we're going with this. Hit OK. Great. Next one, do it again on the bottom. Make it a little bit more. Something like, sure, 20. That's probably extremely excessive. Again, taper angle, negative 42. One thing is, you do not want this to come to a point yet. We can do that afterwards, but do not let it come to a point yet. Okay. Flat bottom, flat top, awesome possum. We got our jewel going. From here, what we're going to do is create those. We're going to make extra facets. So it's not just that one. You see how this one actually has those triangular facets, these triangular cuts? This one, they're more rectangular, or technically more of trapezoid. Anyway, we want them triangular. So to do that, I'm going to go to construct, and I'm going to go to plane through 3 points. There's one for 2, plane through 3 points. Select there. And how I'm going to do this, I'm going to select 1, 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom. You can see how it creates that angle right through there. Select OK. Now I'm going to use split body, which, as it says, creates a new body by dividing any existing one by either some sort of dividing thing. So that could be a sketch, a plane, a construction plane. There we are. Select there. Body to split. the jewel, splitting tool, the plane. Now it's just going to project a line outward that's just showing you, yep, so you can definitely see what you're using. Hit OK. Now you can see our body is now split into two. I have the little tiny chunk, I can just hide that, and I have my main body, which will be jewel. All right, so from there, I can just make multiples. What I can do to do that is use a circle pattern. Select pattern. Now, before, what we've done is use that to create like multiple bodies, sketches, stuff like that. From here, I do want to use the features tool. If that construction plane is just visually in your way, just hide it. All right, select that one. Axis, Z-axis. Now you just need to make sure that they line up. This was 10, so divide that in half, 5. And that's it. So you just make multiples that way. So as long as you have something that's divisible evenly, the number of facets or the number of edges on your polygon will work. Now we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. Construction plane, plane through 3 points. Remember, 2 points at the bottom. Pick one, skip the plane or the point, skip the next, and then go back to that middle one. Oh, I've got construction planes hidden. There we go. So there you go. Going to do the same thing. If you want, you could sweep it around, but I usually make the points go toward the center. Hit OK. Again, split body, main body, splitting tool, the new construction plane we just created. Hit OK. Makes more. Let's hide that little chunk. Still have our jewel. Great. Hide the construction plane so I can see what I'm doing. Repeat. Go down to pattern, circle pattern. Make sure I have features selected. That one face, my axis, Z-axis, and it's going to keep my selection from before for 5. There you go. Just makes additional features. So obviously you could create this with fewer edges or with fewer faces, the top and bottom. You can get a little bit more striking facet. You can keep going, make this as complex as you please, but this is pretty much all we're doing with that. I just wanted to show you how you can make a faceted surface with by using construction planes, plane through 3 points, to use the split body tool, chop faces off. That always sounds grisly. And make circle pattern with that, make extras. Now, if you do want to bring this jewel to a point now you can finish with extrude, bring it down a bit. Remember, go to your taper angle, -42, and then just however long it takes to actually get it to that point. You're only going to be able to bring it down so far. Main thing being that if you had brought it to a point before, you wouldn't be able to make the facets below. That's all. Okay. Save there. Jewel done. All right. So from there, then you would just decide, if you want to make your pipe tool, whatever have you. Oh yeah, I made this gargantuan. That is some significant bling. All right. Sorry, I promised not to use the word bling again. No promises, but close enough. From there, yeah, you can obviously, if you make this too big, just scale it down. It's not a big deal. Or totally make it this gigantic and, use it to wallop on somebody. I'm not here to tell you how to use your jewelry. Yeah, but from there, you make whatever you want. The bodies, if you wanted a sweep, pipe, multiple pipes, all that kind of thing. The main thing here would be you want to take your finished up ring and your finished body, bring them together. To do that, obviously, this is just freaking gargantuan. Take like the jewel, move this up, body. Oh, geez. It selected it by not the point that I wanted to use. All right. Instead of just selecting the whole thing, it was trying to find an edge point or something. So from there, just try to bring it up to where it kind of sort of meets the top of your ring. I did not keep track of the size there. That is massive. And the last part I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. It's even worse. It's even worse than my original one. You want to make some sort of a setting. And a setting, basically, all it does is something goes up and over just a little bit to catch the edge of that ring, so it technically wouldn't fall off, or the edge of that jewel, so it wouldn't fall off. Good lord, that is just absurd. Sorry, I'm just really entertained by that. All right, so from here, a couple of easy ways to do this. I'm just going to do a simple one, and we can always play with other stuff later. But the easiest thing to do would be create a sketch, as always, from the front. And basically, you just want to make something that is slightly larger than the most of this jewel, and then we can kind of cut it up and modify from there. So one of the easiest things to do, project, whole body, the jewel, hit OK. That way I can hide that and I can simplify it with just my little Superman outline here. Makes it a lot easier because from there I could do something like if I wanted to make it more organic, I could start with a fit point spline, drawing somewhere out there. Sorry. Or I could even use an offset for that actual projection and draw that outside. So it's really however you want to approach it. If you want to make it more angular so it really matches the ring or the jewel, use offset. If you want to make it more organic, use fit point spline, or you could combine them. Doesn't matter, whatever. But the trick to this would be just like the revolve vessel tool or project, you do want to make sure that this has a completed just partial profile there. So I am going to use the offset tool also to make a line that is somewhat inside of there. Or you could always use the original thing and like use that to cut something away. But for this case, I'm just going to use that fit point spline, that curved line that I used there, make a complete thing. Hit OK. From there, I want to make sure to close up that profile. So you want, sure, make it straight across, straight across. There we are. Does not matter if it goes all the way to the bottom. It's not really going to be a big issue here. All right, then hit OK. From there, I'm going to use that revolve tool, pick that profile. The problem is, oh, hang on. Tell you what, you see how it's all interfering with everything? Let's go back into that sketch and turn some of that stuff into construction lines. So I'm going to select that whole outline that I did before, press X, turn that into construction line. Same thing with the projection, press X, construction line. Now when I hit finish sketch, that profile's isolated. I can work with it a little bit easier. Just turn what you don't want to deal with into a construction line, and it won't interfere with the next part. From there, yeah, I'm going to use the revolve tool, that profile, standard thing, axis, revolves around the that axis. I don't want it to cut. I want it to, in this case, I'll use new body. All right. So this ridiculous giant cup, you do something like that. And ultimately what I'm going to do with this is from there, you can bring out the jewel and you can see how they're nested together. What I'm going to do is just like I did for cutting holes into the side of the revolved vessel, I'm going to do the exact same thing with this. So let me hide the jewel again. And in this case, I'm going to create another sketch, XY plane, or sorry, XZ plane. And from here, I don't know, something like, we'll just use like a big ellipse. That'll work well enough. Say 15, doesn't really have to match. There we go. Okay.
Aaron, give it. All right.
What's up? Oh, Aaron, your mic is on.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. All right. So from there, like I said, like we did before, just going to use that sketch, extrude it forward so it does in fact cut. Okay. Make any modifications I need here, or I can do it afterwards. Now let's make some fillets there. We'll see if I can do a full round on that internal. Hey, let me do the same thing from above. Probably should have done that already, but okay, we'll just finish that. All right, so from there, just like we did before, again, circle pattern, features. I want that feature around the axis, Z-axis, and let's see if 5 doesn't make it way too crazy. Yep, wouldn't let it. C pattern circle pattern a bit much. So maybe we have to dial it back or make it a bit less complex. But we'll also try this time with faces. Sometimes that combination gets kind of funky on us. Let's try it with fate using by faces instead of by features. Try it again. It should work. I don't see anything overlapping. Hit okay. Hey, you worked that time. So somehow I've made an alien flower, and in that is what would then match my ring. So sometimes the using the fit point spline, you're going to end up with these big gaps. Obviously, if you've made this gargantuan ring, or if I had made the revolve completely solid, what I could do with the last bit would then be like, well, let me just save that. Fitting. The last bit would then be to use the combine tool and cut. So it'd be like target body would be the setting, tool body would be the jewel itself. Make sure you select keep tools. Otherwise, it'll delete the cutting tool, which is the jewel. Hit that, and what that's going to do is it's going to cut away. Oh, dang it, it joined at the end. Tool body was that? What the heck? All right, everything went screwy on me. Yep, tool body is the jewel. Oh, I accidentally had join there. I wanted to cut. Now that's all turning red. That's okay because I have the selection box keep tools. Hit okay. All right, so it kept it that time. But if I delete or if I hide the jewel, you can see how it cut into the face here of that super giant weird setting. So there you go. So you can very quickly make an absurd ring or such, but with some really simple tools, variety of combinations and such. Obviously, the last bit would be, let me save that, cut, fitting. Last bit would be join parts together so you actually lock them in. But then make sure to bring up the appearance tool, and then you can do whatever you please to this. Appearances, I don't know. Glass works really well for in place of a jewel or something, because they don't really have. I mean, if you go to stone, it's going to be like marble and such like that. That's not going to be like gemstones and such. So with this, you could be like glass, smooth glass, blue, red, whatever. If you see again, if you see this little arrow, download arrow next to the selection, it's because you just have to download it. Just select it and it downloads. It's not like you have to pay for it or anything like that. Click and drag onto the body you want to activate. There you go. The other part would be like, I don't know, make the other one stone. Sure, make it a stone or wood or metal, or obviously if you wanted to go metal, sure, go for it. Aluminum. Oh, right, they have anodized aluminum stuff now. Let's go anodized. Heck yeah, because anodized stuff is cool looking. And then we'll do it for that one. There you go. So, oh, I accidentally had the appearances on for that. So there you go. I have somehow made a primary and secondary color ring pop that possibly looks tasty, and I don't know yet. So that's pretty much going to be the project. Obviously, there's going to be multiple features within this. I'm going to show you next time how to add features onto the surface of the ring, stuff like that. Maybe even make them slightly more reasonably scaled to one another. But a lot of that is just going to be dimensional. So again, you can make this a ring is a good option, but you can make this a bracelet, a necklace, a crown. It does not matter. It's whatever you want. Doesn't even have to technically be circular. These are just the general parameters for working with this. Again, either pipe, sweep, or loft tool, or a combination of them. Some sort of jeweled feature, and then technically some sort of setting for that. We will be adding more features to this, and I will show you different versions of how you can make a more simplified or less organic or whatever settings. There's really no wrong way to make this. Again, this is not a jewelry class. You're just making something that kind of looks the part. So work with it, and we'll go from there. I always forget where the stop is. Stop recording.